Hello everyone, and thank you everyone joining me and the Tibetan Buddhist Society of Canberra. We are having the teaching on the qualities of the three jewels, and so before we start the teaching, I'm going to do the refuge and four immeasurable prayers in Tibetan. O Zanje Jodan Zoje Jonan La Janjo Bardo Danen Jazunje Dagi Junzo Jive Zonamanje Dola Benje Zanje Debarai Jo Zanje Jodan Zoje Jonan La Janjo Bardo Danen Jazunje Dagi Junzo Jive Zonamanje Dola benja zanje drabara jo zanje jodan zoje jonala janjo bardo dane jazanje dage janzo jebe zonamanje Dola benja zanje drabara jo zemja damja dewa dan deve jodan dembra jo Dunga da dunga je judan dawra juja dunga mebe dewa da me dawra ju yere jadan dan drawe danyon la nebar yoro je zemjan dan je dewa dan dewe judan dembra ju dunga da dunga je judan dawra juja dunga mebe dewa da me dawra ju Yere jadan dan da danyon la ne bara juro je zemja damja dewa dewe judan den bara juje donga da donga je judan rawra juj donga mebe dewa da me rawra juje yere jadan dan da danyon la ne bara juro je. So in the past few sessions, we have talked about the qualities of the first gem of the Buddha. Also, we have talked about the definition of the word Ratna. Tonight, I'm going to focus on the infinite qualities of the gem of the Dharma, because that is the second of the three jewels, and the second jewel is the Dharma. Dharma is the teaching and the realization of the fully enlightened one. So the preciousness of the Dharma is because it is realization of the Buddha. The Buddha himself attained enlightenment by realizing the truth of the Dharma. So we're going to focus specifically what qualities constitute Dharma. The word Dharma actually means reliable, to uphold. It's like something good to hold on to. You can often find some things that you like to hold on to, but they soon prove to be not quite good, whatever they are. But if you ever found a Dharma to hold on to, it is the most sacred, most sublime. So therefore, they use the word Saddharma. Saddharma means sublime or sacred, or precious, very extra, very wondrous. The Dharma is wondrous, because as soon as you find the Dharma, as soon as you receive the Dharma, as soon as you understand the Dharma, you find a way. Until you find a way, Dharma, you are stranded in the samsara. So therefore, Dharma is the path. Dharma is like when we say eightfold path, noble path, is the Dharma gives the people our path to go from samsara to beyond samsara. And then because you strayed on the path, and then by walking on the path, then you reach the state beyond samsara, the nirvana. And so therefore, the cessation of the suffering and its causes is the truth of cessation and truth of the path. The Dharma usually constitutes of truth of the path and truth of the cessation. So we have to look at how does Dharma becomes path. It is said that anyone, like it says in the Sutra to recollect the qualities of three jewels, it says that Dharma that the Dharma is good in the beginning. So meaning that whoever, first of all, either hears the Dharma or reads the Dharma, and by understanding the Dharma, and as soon as they taste, as soon as they flavor the sample of the Dharma, as soon as the person hears the Dharma, it completely delights the mind and sows the seeds of faith in the as soon as the person hears the Dharma, they don't have difficulty believing in that. So therefore, as soon as you listen to this, then it is good in the beginning because it sows the seed of faith in the veracity and authenticity of the Dharma. And then, when it says good in the middle, but subsequently when you think about the contents and meaning of the Dharma, and then you experience some extraordinary shifts and changes in you, that you found a way out of the misery of samsara, and you find a joy that never was possible to be generated by material wealth or worldly status or power or position or fame or company or whatever you have. They could never match the joy that you actually gain from good in the middle. Good in the middle is when you're thinking about Dharma. When you really have the capacity to hear the Dharma, ever since you hear the Dharma, you then have the good in the middle. And good in the middle is whenever you're thinking about things in relation to Dharma. From the Dharma point of view, how do you deal with the suffering, or deal with the difficult sentient beings, or deal with the other person's jealousy to you, and so on. The Dharma teaches the way how to overcome them. So whoever contemplates and thinks about the Dharma, they have an extraordinary personal experience of bringing joy and develop conviction in the truthness of the path. They develop extraordinary joy. Therefore, it's called good in the middle, that they are all sure that they have found the path. And finally, when it's good in the end, means that when the people who hears and contemplates the Dharma and then will meditate, as a result of meditating on Dharma, they realize the wisdom. So you have these three things. The good in the beginning gives faith, good in the middle gives joy, and good in the end gives the right view. So as a result of this, the good in the end, therefore, culminates to the person embracing the three higher trainings. The higher training of discipline, shila, higher training of meditation, dhyana, and higher training of wisdom, the prajna. So shila and bhavana or dhyana and prajna. These three higher trainings a person becomes possessor of, and as a result of this, so when they actually adhere to the Dharma, they actually have two: Dharma of the scripture, Dharma of the realization. The Dharma of scripture is therefore its meaning is excellent. They call it meaning that is contained in the scriptures is excellent. Excellent in the sense of it actually deals with both relative phenomena as well as ultimate, and it shows the shows the correct path. It contrasts to the incorrect path, And there are many other fields of study, like ornithology, that talks about the birds and what they do and when they breed and what food they eat. And even those subfields of subjects quite interesting, yeah. But they don't really have that much meaningful understanding than just about the birds, for instance. Or for instance, or you might say, trees and how many leaves they have, and how long it takes for the leaf to grow. All that kind of knowledge, While all fields of knowledge is very interesting and so on, they don't have a lot of great meanings. There's no, so therefore Dharma that is good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end. Its meaning is excellent. Why? Because Dharma teaches how to know the nature of relative and ultimate reality in an unmistaken way. And at the same time, it can eradicate all the suffering and their causes. And it will empower you to find the path, and the path that leads to the cessation of the sorrow. Because of that, Dharma its meaning is excellent, its words are excellent. Because words meaning that the vowels and consonants and put together, then they will actually create a composition of the actual words of the meaning. And the word of the Dharma is so immaculate, it is unlike some heretical doctrines that is so convoluted, so unbelievable, saying the world was created by God. But the fully enlightened one taught the good meaning. The text, the words that he taught is excellent. Excellent in the sense that that when you understand the Dharma, it will quell your sorrow and their causes. And because it came from the compassionate mind of the Buddha and enlightened and omniscient mind of the Buddha, it gives the power. It is most pleasant to whoever listens to it. There's nothing wrong, nothing inappropriate, nothing is extraordinarily difficult for them, but they can clearly see the point of the Dharma. Dharma is so sensible. It totally changes the people. Dharma, once the person understands Dharma, the person becomes excellent. His rough behaviors, rough attitudes, rough thoughts, rough views are all sort of tamed by the amazing, excellent meaning of the Dharma. When people become exposed to the Dharma, the meaning makes the person excellent. The rough person becomes tame. Jealous person becomes unjealous, and arrogant becomes humble, and miserly becomes diligent, generous, lazy becomes diligent, scattered person becomes collected, person with bad mouth becomes more silent, and so therefore it's an excellent. Dharma is excellent. Its words are excellent, meaning the words that are contained in that are so soothing, because it is appropriately tailored by the compassionate and wise mind of enlightened one, that is appropriately tailored according to people of different levels of intelligence. People can remember them, people can validate them through their own experiences, and whoever speaks Dharma, it comes out very soothing and appropriate. Whoever listens to that they don't see any inappropriate thing that to their liking. Everybody hears it as if that was really meant for them to hear it. So Dharma has excellent words. Its words are excellent, and it's uncorrupted, meaning it is not confused, because it is not confused in terms of the teaching on the Dharma tells about how things are impermanent. It doesn't say things are created by God, which actually makes complicated. So what? How did He create it? It raises the question. Whereas Dharma says everything is impermanent, and it's almost everything become confirmed. Yes, I have seen from small things to big things, all change and never stay the same. Dharma is so true and so believable. And it says that all suffering came from afflictions. They don't say all suffering came from some people eating the apple or something. It says suffering came from afflictions and bad habits. So therefore, its teachings are so clear and precise. It is therefore it's not confusing, and as soon as a person hears about the Dharma, they all become cognizant of a concept called afflictions, concept called inner enemies of afflictions. and Dharma makes themselves, like a Dharma becomes the medicine. Medicine treats the affliction and tames the enemy, and changes the behavior of the person. So what does the Dharma do? Dharma is like a medicine. It corrects the person's behavior. It makes the person to tame their rough and disturbed mind of affliction, and it therefore helps them to reject their bad habits and addictions. And therefore it protects the person. Dharma is the protector. Dharma actually does the protecting. In Buddhism, we don't say Buddha protects you. It's Dharma is the protector. Dharma is the mental constitution which, by resorting to, you become completely unexposed to the suffering and misery, because Dharma is the protector. Dharma is the knowledge. They say knowledge is powerful. Indeed, knowledge of the Dharma is very, very powerful. It protects you from sadness or hurt or anger, and it's actually it is actually very well. It is a protector, and it is treatment, and it is full of qualities. No other doctrines have these qualities. That which restores you, that transforms you, that treats you, and that protects you, and that makes you to have the possessing the qualities of kindness and tolerance and forgiveness and understanding and renunciation and so on. All of this becomes the possession, because you're protected if you have security, isn't it? They say peace, security is a peace of mind. Yeah, when you have Dharma, you need not to go anywhere looking for a remedy or a helper or guide or protector. Dharma itself is the protector. Dharma itself is the medicine. Dharma itself is the guide. Dharma itself will tell you what you need to. Dharma itself is teaching you all the time. Dharma is the teaching. Teaching points the things what you should adopt as a thoughts or behavior, and teaching actually teaches you what you should adopt: kindness and compassion and forgiveness and realization of impermanence and inevitability of death and preciousness of human rebirth. So you actually develop this incredible body of knowledge that boosts your morale and confidence. So this not as so that it's almost power is given to whoever comprehends the Dharma well. They will straight away boost their fitness to not to suffer, because they will not do afflictions and the causes of the afflictions, so the ill will and the wrong view, and so it's not like waiting for some kind of intervention coming from external divinity or something. Dharma is your own conscious ability to know what to adopt and know what to reject. And you know what to drop and what is to adopt. And what is to practice, what to reject when you understand Dharma. So therefore, Dharma is complete. Dharma is complete in the sense says that each and every affliction has an appropriate remedy for each and every affliction. Just like there is a medicine for every single diseases, likewise, Dharma has a remedy for each and every psychological behavior, emotional, karmic kind of habits the person is suffering from. Dharma will give one appropriate remedy that is so pacifying, that is so medicine-like, and then all the sufferings and affliction, the three realms of existence, are completely remediable, can be remedied, completely remedied by the application and implementation or practice of Dharma. So therefore, whoever were to possess Dharma, they are more adequate. They don't need to seek friends or people or external powerful people to protect, guide them. They are inadequately possessor of the Dharma. And that's the highest wealth and the best panacea and medicine that they have. So because of that, not only the person who has that Dharma helps him, but through that he can help a multitude of people. And this is what the Dharma has spread so many parts of the world, because it has the incredible positive effect on everyone's life. Dharma is so true, it enables the people who are otherwise depressed to find the Dharma, find the hope. People who are alone don't feel lonely anymore because they have Dharma. People feel who are very, very sort of abandoned and rejected by others because they have Dharma, they don't feel that. So therefore, Dharma is the peace. Dharma is the cause of peace. Dharma is the recovery of a from bad health. You become completely healthy, and it is the saying that nobody can dare to disagree. It seems so true to everyone who reads and hears the teachings. There isn't kind of any over the board kind of teachings. The teachings are so relevant and practical to you. This is just when you read it. It implants the hope. When you practice it, when you think about it, then it gives you joy. When you meditate on it, it gives you realization of the truth. So Dharma is perfectly pure, because it perfectly pure means it will enable you to understand the nature of all things on the relative level as well as ultimate level. And so when you understand the Dharma, for instance, when it says all sufferings has to be understood, it doesn't say the suffering has to be blamed, or you should tit for tat, retaliate the suffering and the cause of it. It doesn't say the suffering must be understood. When you understand suffering, you see the universality of the suffering. When you understand the taste of the ocean is all salty water, then you realize how universal nature of the taste of the ocean water is, all salt water. Likewise, you get to know the prevalence of suffering in all things. You don't singularly over kind of personalized thinking, why I am suffering, me. One says this kind of suffering is universal, and from the very highest to the lowest, everybody must go through the sufferings. All meetings will part, all acquisition will be squandered, all healthy ones become unhealthy, all those who and so these are kind of inevitable nature of the Dharma. The Dharma teaches the way things are. As soon as the person finds the Dharma, something is changing and purifying them. And then, unlike before they were completely crippled and ignorant, and as far as they didn't know what to do. As soon as they become possessor of the Dharma, they are able to equip themselves with the effective remedy. So the Dharma is therefore the actual medicine, that you know how to take the medicine, what the medicine is for which illness. Likewise, Dharma teaches you, if you suffer from poverty, if you suffer from anger, whatever it is, Dharma is so pertinent advice to show exactly why that came to be. At the same time, Dharma teaches that all problems are transient. It says that nothing is permanent. And because of that, it doesn't intimidate anyone with whatever sufferings and problems they have. Even all the problems are not real. They're just question of how soon you will be able to eliminate it. And so because of that, when you understand the Dharma, Dharma is the best thing that you can ever find. Dharma is the most reliable, most ever enduring remedy for everything that you possibly want to say. Because Dharma is taught by the Buddha. The fully enlightened one taught it. Because fully enlightened one is firstly omniscient. Secondly, he is compassionate to all sentient beings. Thirdly, he's got a power. And anyone who too were to pay heed to the Dharma that is taught by Buddha, then they too will be empowered to have this amazing mind and then discover the importance of compassion, which is the most appropriate response to all sentient beings who are suffering in the world. And so the Dharma is immaculate, It is perfect, It is so true, It is so meaningful and logical and practical. And anybody who hears and listens to Dharma, they straight away become a lot more boosted as a human being. And they do not become intimidated by karma and suffering, because they have the Dharma with which they understand the suffering, and with which they understand sentient beings who are suffering. So they do not treat them with contempt or impatience. They actually use the Dharma to change the karmic conditions of people. So, because of that, whoever were to acquire the Dharma through the good in the beginning, that's through listening and studying, good in the middle when they listen, study and contemplate, and good at the end when they're meditating, it will empower everyone starting to part themselves from their faults. They become much more cognizant of their faults and flaws than any time before. They never thought they had these kind of flaws. But as soon as the person understands Dharma, everybody who say there's 6 people, everyone becomes minding of their own affairs, rather than minding what other people think you think they're doing or did or will do. You never have to think about what other people do or don't. It's your thought about them. Your reaction to them is what you need to know. What are faulty that should be discarded, what are qualities that can remedy them. So because of that, the person becomes very, very conscious of what faults they have to abandon and what qualities they have to accomplish. Because that's the Dharma. Dharma teaches the ways, what you should shun and what you should adopt. Because when you are able to see the Dharma and the truth of the Dharma very, very clearly, you are able to see things perfectly and clearly as they are. Because if you do not know about something very clearly, for instance, if you look at an object, then you can see the object, you don't see the object as independently, inherently, permanently existing thing when you have the Dharma. So the Dharma teaches you, this is all conditioned. Whatever is conditioned, things are impermanent, unsatisfactory, and does not have any monolithic entity in itself. So because of that, Dharma informs and reforms the person about nature, reality around them. All the things and labels to things are merely imputed. You will see that. You know that object does not independently exist from its own side. It only exists dependent on what we have imputed and labeled it to be so. So as soon as the person, the trainees who have got the Dharma in their mind, they can see things very clearly. They're all empowered to see the ultimate meaning of things. And as a result of this, which is very difficult for most people to do, they will accomplish huge tasks through the Dharma. And they develop amazing confidence and conviction in how true the Dharma is. At times it might be very difficult for you to live and do and think exactly according to Dharma, but the moment you actually hear it, it gives so much optimism so much optimism how to get rid of it. And so from the quality of the Dharma, and you also have this amazing vision that if I did this, in order to get that result, I have to do this. In order not to suffer like this, I should get rid of this. The person becomes so appropriately cognizant of what he must do. So he's not sick, So when you have Dharma, you're not sick, Otherwise, we're always sick. We're always in pain, and poor me, and so on. But as soon as you find the Dharma, you are free of any diseases, because you're not hosting and posting your afflictions and self-grasping and bad karmic habits of the body, speech, and mind. And you become very conscious about the various illnesses in your mind are attributable to your 3 root afflictions or 6 root affliction or 22 secondary afflictions or whatever. You become very cognizant of the cause of the suffering, cause of the illnesses. Now, because you don't want the result, you should therefore be focused on what is the cause of it. So when we talk about the truth of suffering, truth of the origin, so you become very cognizant and conscious about the origin of suffering. Origin is not independent something or innately yourself. Your karma and your affliction may have some role that has played to make the suffering present in your life, but at the same time you do not see anything unitarily and monolithically existing thing at all. Because of that, you don't have the wrong view, thinking it's all my fault or his fault. And you are not sick anymore. Because when you think he did this to me, you're sick, Oh, I did this, myself, it's all my fault, and that is also sickness. So when you have the Dharma, it is health, Dharma is health. Dharma prevents you from suffering, ill health, physically and mentally and emotionally. Otherwise, we are completely destroyed by stress. So therefore, all the inner enemies are illnesses. The illnesses are cured by the Dharma medicine. Even the very, very hidden afflictions, you are able to tap them. You are able to tally the existence of a subtle afflictions by your deep contemplative mind. So therefore, Dharma is like a light. When the sun shines, it unveils the darkness of the world. Whole darkness of the world last night in the pitch dark was completely illuminated when the morning sun shines. Likewise, when you have really found the gem of Dharma in your life, that you have actually comprehended the teaching, you have read them, you have thought about it, you have realized how true the Dharma is. As soon as that, you're no longer in the darkness, you are in the light. So we call Dharma the light, because if you have Dharma, you're enlightening yourself. It's just like the orb of the sun beaming, likewise, the trueness of the Dharma's rays of light and rays of awareness is so illuminating to you. You're completely seeing what is the cause, what is the result. If you don't want this kind of result, you must stop this kind of cause, mentally, emotionally, physically, verbally. And people become so informed by the Dharma, it makes themselves very competent that their habits, their karma, their afflictions of the past are but all conquerable. There is no such thing as original sin in Buddhism, but there is a thing called original virtue, that you all have Buddha nature, for instance. So there are many, many teachings that comes very, very clearly that the more you are taught, the more you are able to apprehend your contaminated afflictions. When you can recognize the contaminated afflictions, and then you are going to be not losing time, but you are instead that you are going to be in a timely manner, you are able to eradicate the faults, and you are able to rely on what is the correct path. Correct path is the newly adopted, wholesome, contented, loving, compassionate, non-attached way of attitudes. So therefore you realize how timely the Dharma has come in your life. All the crises and problems that you thought you had too much of, they all become transformable because they are not truly permanent or inherently existing from their own side. Because of that, it's just like you have a gem. As soon as you hold the kind of trophy, you feel great. Likewise, as soon as you hear the Dharma, you have received the trophy of ultimate enlightenment. And not only the Dharma is so liberatively protecting and guiding and propping you to be strong and so on, but it has a complete capacity for you to transmit them to other people. It enables the person to be tamed. Loud becomes tamed, and aggressive becomes peaceful, and angry become kind, and and forgetful become mindful, and it restores each and every person's ability to psychological well-being. And because of that, person has so much appreciation. Though how much the person feels appreciating of the Dharma is that the Dharma that he has greatly boosts his morale and confidence. Therefore, the person becomes completely guided towards the light, So they are guided towards the light, and the more they are walking towards the light, the more they are abandoning the afflictions and bad habits and bad wrong views. And slowly they are starting to experience the uncontaminated bliss. Because Dharma is blissful, it gives you peace. And when you are able to practice that, experience the benefit of Dharma, like a person who becomes really well and recovers from illness, you can see how bright they look. Likewise, whenever you think dharmically, when you read Dharma, when you put the Dharma into action, you become completely delighted. You're over and above the problem. And yet you are also compassionate to other sentient beings who lack this kind of skill. Because of that, you become, previously you were completely, you were miserly or stingy or mean. But as soon as your Dharma comes into you, you become completely diligent and generous and giving. And you find yourself more happiness from giving the things from which you didn't find any happiness from keeping. So then you realize, wow, it's the giving, and it's the being patient to someone. It is being loving kind to other people is the true Dharma. Because of that, the Dharma completely transforms and modifies the person's behavior, and so that the person becomes more and more interested to hear more, to contemplate the Dharma, and to meditate on the incredible shift and change they themselves could see happening in their mind. So when we say, and like in the Pali text, they say upanayiko, meaning that the Dharma actually puts you ahead. Dharma makes you to get ahead of your time and people, because it actually guides you. It makes you to travel in leaps and bounds. Previously you were stranded and you're going in a vicious circle. Wait until you find Dharma. As soon as the Dharma that points you to the right direction, and you are actually bouncing on the path in making those very progression. And whoever hears, reads, and listens, comprehends, understands Dharma, it is meaningful that they heard you speak. It's meaningful they can read the Dharma. It's meaningful for them to remember. There's never a time the Dharma is inappropriate. Dharma is the most meaningful kind of intervention into your crisis. And so you develop amazing compassion to all sentient beings who are struggling in the three realms of existence. And you have this incredible, so you see all the sentient beings with problems and suffering, they do not intimidate you, and they don't cause aversion to you. Your Dharma makes yourself so meaningfully needing to engage with those sentient beings. Because Dharma completely empowers us, pacifies us, tames us, makes us boosted many more times. Because of that, Dharma is that gives you the stamina and the power to tolerate the hardships and difficulties of sentient beings. And Dharma teaches you the incredible skill, incredible compassion, incredible ability to practice patience to the least appropriate object that you previously couldn't. But wait until Dharma slowly gets in you, and as a result of that, you feel meaningful. Even the most difficult situation that you felt, Dharma is so appropriately tailoring you an remedy, and therefore you are developing an incredible mental restitution. And so you will see the samsara as incredible disease, and in which sentient beings are catching the disease due to their greed, hatred, ignorance. And person who has the Dharma can see this. Whereas ordinary people who don't have Dharma always point the finger to something else, and they try to take punitive measure to suffer, to punish the other, as if punishing others will reduce your suffering. It doesn't, and it actually exacerbates the suffering, and it makes oneself to go in the vicious cycle. But wait until you hear the Dharma and you listen to the Dharma, you believe in the Dharma, and you practice it. Then you will restrain yourself from tit for tat and retaliation. You can see them as doomed for failure. Because of that, you rather do the conquering the ego and karma and behavior and habits. And because of that, one is able to effectively find a remedy by meditating on the impermanence of things, by meditating on the all-pervasive conditioning and sufferings of sentient beings. So you don't over-personalize the suffering, but you know the suffering is universally created or due to causes of condition. And because of that, you become so convinced in how true the Dharma is, how medicine it is. Because of that, you know the Dharma is the truth. Because Dharma says it is the truth, it is peaceful, it is cause of peace, it is cause of reconciliation. When you have the Dharma, when you really practice the Dharma, there is no people need to convince you. Dharma is so vivid as what you must do if you wanted to stop the suffering. You need to own your own karma and afflictions. Because of that, Dharma is the one that empowers the person to make peace with himself and with his past. He doesn't wait the other person to make peace with us, but we make peace within ourselves and towards the other. Because of the Dharma actually enables everyone. It makes the blind to find sight, and crippled to find legs, and deaf to hear the sound again, and so on. Dharma is so precious, so rich. And it straight away is enabling you to shift and change and drop quite a few rough habits, such as violent person become less violent. A meat-eating person becomes, slowly stopping to eat meat, and try to show those people who are very greedy, they become a little bit more content with small and simple things they have, and they do not brood anger or hoard material wealth. They, instead of dispense them and give them away in order to benefit sentient beings. Because of that, it completely changes the person's physical behavior, verbal behavior, and the mental behavior and an attitude. That depend how well the person's comprehension of Dharma will confirm how effectively the person can put an end to the misery. And when it says Ahiya Pashika, Ahiya Pashika means come and have a look. This Dharma is such a beautiful spectacle. Whoever sees the Dharma and can watch this Dharma, they feel, I'm so glad I didn't die until now. I'm so glad I've been alive this far. Now there is something beautiful to behold. Dharma is the most beautiful thing to see. There's nothing comparable, any material artistic creation. Dharma is such an incredible metacognitive awareness, and because of that, you have the very courage to ask other people to come and look into Dharma, and it is so appropriate to any intelligent, rational mind thinking about it. They will see the veracity and how validating the truth of the teachings of the Dharma is. And each and every learned and wise person to look at, they can see the insight and wisdom of the Dharma. And as a result of that, that whoever has heard and read what Buddha has taught, such as to subdue your mind, subdue your body, subdue your speech, subdue your mind, everybody becomes somewhat cognizant of what constitutes the Dharma. because they're all minding their thoughts, minding their emotions, minding their language in which they're thinking, and they're all slowly restraining them. And this kind of acquisition of the knowledge enables the person to feel they will slowly lose the enmity, drop the enmity, replace that with loving kindness and compassion through self-discipline, the Shila, through meditation, the Dhyana, and through prajna, through wisdom realizing from that, doing these things. So Buddha, then you becomes, the more do you understand the Dharma's immeasurable qualities, the more you reiterate your faith in the Buddha. And because Buddha is the one who taught this Dharma. No matter how sacred the Dharma is, if it wasn't taught or you are not exposed to the teaching in writing or hearing oral teaching, you will never get it. You will be reading books that are materials which are not appropriate for your growth. You will be wasting your time and money and doing many, many other things. But the moment you have acquired the Dharma, it's completely prioritized how you must spend your weekend or half an hour or more toward the self kind of enlightenment cause of this. So Dharma therefore gives everybody a direction that they previously did not have. It enables the person to practice renunciation. They can renounce their own greed, hate, and ignorance. Previously, they were trying to renounce by run away from people or places or things as if they are the problem. But when you have Dharma, it teaches you the definite conviction as what you must discard, what you must adopt. It is not the people or home or possession or position that you need to abandon. You can still do that. That's if you want to lead a monastic life. But even the non-monastic life, they can actually relate to the teachings how much we can reconstitute and change our mind. And so Dharma is so precious because it is Dharma that Buddha reached enlightenment through. It's a realization of the truth of the Dharma that Buddha, even the Buddha's enlightenment is the realization of Dharma. When he's able to recognize the subtle growth and subtle afflictions, and being able to completely eradicate the slightest kind of propensities, and they then develop renunciation. The renunciation means definite becoming, because they have complete change. The person is completely changed. Whereas all the appropriate, wholesome mentalities, qualities are mushrooming in you, and therefore you have the amazing ability to allay the two stains of the two obscurations. Obscuration of affliction and obscuration knowledge. Both of these are slowly washed away by the practice of Dharma, and you are able to mind your physical habits, verbal habit, mental habit, emotional habit, and so on. You have highlighted what are the abandonable physical, verbal, mental attitude and habits that I must get rid of. So you know exactly what to abandon, and you know exactly what to cultivate. Patience, tolerance, forgiveness, compassion, generosity, diligence, contentment, and lack of resentment. These are incredible way to adopt a mentality that vow not to do any of that, but will actually restrain any of them if they were to linger. Because of that, the realization and the comprehension of the person's knowledge of the Dharma is such that that Dharma is so agreeable. There is never a time that Dharma is inappropriate, and not only the Dharma is very proper and appropriate, that it is, the more you use it, more relevant it becomes. It's not that the Dharma that you become irrelevant and out of date. The more the severe, the degenerate nature of sentient beings and our world is, that much more Dharma is the most effective remedy there is ever to be found anywhere in the whole universe. And you would not have words or thoughts that can express and think about the Dharma's preciousness. And the Dharma, when the Dharma is studied and understood, it doesn't matter from whom you learn. As soon as you learn tiny Dharma from somebody, you straight away have amazing reverence and respect and humility in front of the person. Everybody learns to become humble and bury their ego and pride, because Dharma tames everyone's mind and thoughts, emotion. You wouldn't believe how very kind of loud people have become very, very person of few words, but very negative people who no longer has any kind of blaming and pointing finger at other people when the Dharma is truly picking on. It doesn't mean that just merely having a Dharma, all your faults will be eradicated. But slowly, slowly, people are showing that how much more tamed and contented, disciplined, and forgiving they have become as a result of the Dharma. This Dharma comes from scriptural Dharma, and they're followed by realization Dharma. The more you meditate on loving kindness, for instance, the more less you have enmity and resentment towards the enemy, even if you have one. And then you realize how wasteful it is to hold a grudge and vindictiveness towards the other. So you see that I must get up and shake these away and to replace them with kindness and forgiveness and tolerance. The person becomes so powered. Previously they were hopeless. They never thought they could make a difference. But now they become so confident that they already are many times more empowered by the Dharma, by the knowledge, by the words, by the concept. Yet it's changing your whole psychological kind of apparatus, that you no longer are looking from the slanted wax eye point of view. You're no longer you're looking from the inside of the knowing the nature of things. And it is the most reliable vehicle to have. Firstly, it's very difficult for people who have very little intelligence and merit and wisdom. They would not see or know or embrace the Dharma. But those few who do meet the Dharma, it is most reliable vehicle to rely on. Because it says all conditioned phenomena are not only impermanent, but not self. All conditioned things are merely concocted, merely conditioned. They do not truly exist, including self, the other, the habits, the problems. All of these you do not exist from their own side. So because of that, Dharma completely cut through the continuity of misery. You will not be drowned in the river of suffering because there is no water to flow. You will not be born. You will not become old or get sick or die because you become completely eradicated from all of those. So the Dharma practice is so, if we look at any specific teachings, for instance, the renunciation. If you look at the teaching on the renunciation, it says that you have to renounce not only the objects and things, but your thought about the objects. You should renounce the thought of others, rather than the others you have to renounce. And so you actually have the beginners will always think they have to renounce harm or wealth or company of other people as the ideal way of practicing. Now the person realizes even if they've done that, they don't lose their faith. They say, no, I have to renounce selfishness. Ultimately, you have to renounce selfishness and the wrong view of thinking, I am this and that. So one needs to have that doubt. One needs to doubt about the veracity of self being painted in the way it has. So therefore, Dharma is peace, and Dharma is medicine. Dharma is sublime. Dharma is the best realization, best medicine. There's nothing that can surpass the Dharma. Because Dharma is excellently perfect, pristine, appropriate, panacea, and medicine. And it will stop the flowing of the river of suffering. Once you have the Dharma, it doesn't mean you don't become sick or you don't misplace something. You will lose something, but you have no attachment. Your sorrow of a river of sorrow of attachment does not flow. It will cut. It will stop the course of the river from flowing. It will stop thinking of yourself, of the past. Why did I do that? Why didn't he do that? Because of that, I'm suffering. You no longer do those thoughts. You have the exact fitness to walk the path, and you actually have not only tamed the object, but you have tamed your own attitudes. Because of that, this feeling of the medicinality of Dharma, the medicineness of the Dharma, is you're much more well. You have much more contentment than before. Because now you are following the noble truth of path must be practiced. Noble sort of truth of cessation must be realized as a result of practicing. Now you're actually practicing the Dharma. Whoever you need to be patient, you realize you have to be patient. Their instigation is making you to practice the virtue of patience. If they don't do that, we couldn't practice patience. So that you have even more appreciation of them instigating you practice patience. You do not feel as though you are miserable and you can't wait to drop it. The longer you practice patience, more better it is. So you have this such belief of how relevant and how practical the Dharma is as a. So that's why whether people hear the Dharma or read the book or hold the text or at least comprehend its meanings and have a couple of hours of study each day Dharma, then you are revalidating of their truthfulness. So that's why, because when you have Dharma, you are not falling into the lower realms of poor me. How dare do you do with anger and greed and hatred, on ignorance. All of those three lower realm causing mentality are pacified when you are doing the Dharma. When you're doing the Dharma doesn't mean you're always sitting cross-legged and doing serious, intense meditation. Doing the Dharma could be on the road. You can do everyday chores at work, but still with the right attitudes. Then you realize everything you do has a purpose and meaning, and you are not intimidated by any of the difficulties that you might otherwise face. And so, therefore, anyone who were to read, anyone who able to recite, anyone who has listened to it, or anyone who explains to other people, all of this, the Dharma becomes most appropriate material for them to stay tuned themselves. All the 10 activities, what we call, the Maitreya Buddha said there are 10 activities: the writing, making offerings, listening, reading, receiving gifts, and teaching to others, doing the daily recitation, and meditating on that, and analyzing all of these 10 Dharma activities become so meaningful activities. So whether it's a book that you have read, or whether it's a concept about topic about which you want to understand, you're reading about it or thinking about it, or say, for instance, you're thinking of the kindness of your mother sentient beings, and then you are actually emotionally feeling very indebted to your present life's mother, and you wanted to make progress in order to say her thank you and apologize her or forgive her or whatever. You are so enthusiastically encouraged to and go to make this amendment, and because of that, now you are comprehending the Dharma. What you heard is held, retained. What is retained is being practiced and taught and implemented. As a result of that, the person has an incredible mind. Their mind has been so wafted, or so integrated by the Dharmic mentality. And they wouldn't believe how much they have changed over the months, over the years, ever since they've been doing Dharma. Of course, doing Dharma doesn't mean formally doing things with people and not actually changing your attitudes. And we're talking about, maybe they are not doing a lot of the physical activities, but deep in mind they are actually doing dharmically. And the the immeasurable quality of Dharma is that even if you had heard one verse explanation and comprehended the meaning, and you read it, you write it, you reflect on it, and you quote with that, it all makes so much sense. There's such a sane person who is able to think like this. And with the Dharma as a medicine, with the Dharma, you will have renunciation, renunciation from samsara and its causes of samsara and bad habits and afflictions. It's not so much you have to abandon and renounce others, but you have to renounce and abandon your afflicted emotions and wrong views. So it becomes much more cognizant and practical and pertinent for everyone. A lot of people are still doing ill will and anger and jealousy and resentment. They had no hesitation to drop them. Wait until you hear and contemplate and meditate on the Dharma. It really challenges you. Now, you know these things conceptually, but do it. And then you will find incredible qualities of power is unleashed from you, that you are actually able to do them. So Dharma can transform, Dharma can transform, Dharma can pacify. It will prevent yourself from falling into the legion of suffering of little lower realms like hungry ghosts, animals, or animals like always fearful and insecure when whatever it is doing, because that is the nature of the suffering. And once you have the Dharma, of course, you know how to remedy them. And so now, from next week onwards, we will look more specifically some of the teachings of the Dharma, how Dharma is the most, incredible quality of Dharma. Even our interaction, friendship, fellowship that you have with me or with others around your life, we would have never met the Dharma. We would have never met together, have the kind of a relationship we have if it wasn't the Dharma. Because of the Dharma, we have such a good friendship. Our friendship is the healing for all sentient beings. Our bond and our common interest is to how best we can spread the Dharma and make people know and implement the teachings and to remedy themselves of their sufferings. So the Dharma is so empowering. That's why Dharma is the most precious vehicle. Even because Dharma is that when a person is in Dharma, they actually become, their whole mentality changes. That's first they have to hear it, they have to read it, they have to then contemplate it, and they have to think again and again. And once they have done it, then they will find amazing transformation, shift, and vision that they have. So therefore, whether it's only one verse or a whole paragraph, or whether you read them, or whether you write them, or whether you explain to them, and whether you think about it, or whether you publish text and distribute, this incredible merit and benefit. Merit and benefit is not something esoteric. Merit means you become positive. All of a sudden you're not so much negative about past or people or things, even though you used to be. Now you do not go there. You are not going back like that anymore. You are now found the vision before you. Now your eyes has been opened from the blindness, and your hearing has been gained. Your whole consciousness has been completely boosted and fired by the wisdom of the Dharma. And that's why you're very, very committed to study Dharma regularly, to meditate on the Dharma that you understand, and practically implement them in your everyday life situations. You always bring the Dharma, switch on the Dharma, and think how to tame and cull your thoughts and behaviors that is making yourself very, 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 very unsettled. So in this way, the Dharma is the most precious one. Even the Buddha said that you don't worry about me passing away because you have Dharma. The Dharma is the Sutra, Vinaya, Abhidharma, and Vidyadhara Pitaka. All this collection of teachings the Buddha taught are the scriptural Dharma. Scriptural Dharma can be found in small sutras, long sutras, or some as avadana, like legends of the past lives of the Buddha. as well as various theory on the law of karma or the dharma or 6 paramitas or 4 immeasurables, and deity yoga, meditation, loving kindness, and so on. All these things are ample examples of the dharma, the medicine, which will go and help sentient beings. So I would like to conclude here, because the dharma is so precious. And I'd like you to think about the Dharma from the day one of your life till now. How much Dharma you have understood, and whenever you turn to it, how true and how relevant and how practical and how effective and how true and meaningful and how liberating the Dharma is. Because the Dharma is what you have to do. It's changing your mind, purify your mind, and you can see where and what aspects of your mind and attitude need purifying, by which of the dharmic concepts and ideas you must comprehend, and then meditate and gain realization. And so with this in mind, it's always good to think about the topics of the Dharma that you find very inspiring. So how do you do the recollection of the Dharma? You have to see how true the teaching of non-violence is, how true the teaching of contentment and simple life and forgiveness and refuge and generation of bodhicitta and developing the right view, how important and pertinent these teachings are. And you therefore have this ability to not forget the veracity and validity of the Dharma, and make yourself very, very, always Dharma is in your heart, Dharma is in your heart, and whenever you listen to your heart, the teachings of the Buddha is so articulate in terms of what you must stop and what you must adopt, and then how you must go through that. The Dharma is so pertinent and so true and so much like a torch for a person lost in the darkness. It gives them the right direction from where they must go, instead of going round and round in the vicious cycle. So that's why Dharma is the most important thing after the Buddha. We say, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Asanga. What does it mean? Take refuge means you will always remember the teachings and try to apply those teachings. Then you are protected by your own implementation of Dharma. You're not sort of protected by some kind of supernatural figures and beings, but that is a very rare occasion. Most important occasions, that every time you reconstitute your mind, you can see how much shifting that mind is experiencing, how much pacifying, how much transcendental like Dharma is. How true every single words of the Buddha is so beautifully tailored for each and every sentient beings. And therefore you have this deep appreciation and joy and faith. Because it was said that good in the beginning is faith, by listening. Good in the middle is joy, Samsara hasn't got much joy, They've got some small temporary pleasures, but there's no real joy. Joy is joy of contentment, joy of being able to have no resentment, joy of lack of judgment to others, joy of your deep reverence to your spiritual friend, joy of your deep gratitude to your loved ones, above all, joy of having refuge in your life. That is the real joy. The beings have happiness that does not turn into suffering, is the true joy. So this is Vesak month still, so everyone should devote their time and energy in study, reading, meditating, and knowing about the Buddha, and how incredible every single discourses that he taught, Sutra, are all collected in our literature, and how true and meaningful they are as a gift to the sentient beings in their life when they truly meet Dharma. And so Dharma is inconceivable. The little we are trying to conceive has enormous merit. You wouldn't believe how much it is changing and giving you the direction, and makes you to go forward and make you forward and reach the actual seat of enlightenment. So therefore, the holy sacred Sadharma is could be sometimes read in verses, others in prose, others in avadanas, others could be taught and explained, others could be meditated. And so that's why please take your time to do the Dharma. That is most precious one. This Dharma is not a cultural thing. Dharma is a very, very conscious awareness that you see how veracity and the truth and validity valid Dharma is to all people in different walks of life, and especially those people who are predisposing to have faith in the teachings of the Buddha, and then they actually have joy every day. They have more joy. They never have sadness, depression, when they have really in the refuge in the Dharma. When you think about Dharma, they surpass all your other inconsistent worries, anxiety. You're completely lifted up in the space by the cotton wool of Dharma. You have this incredible pleasure and joy in everything. These would be some of the conceivable qualities of the Dharma. We on the conventional beginner's level can rejoice, and also it is through Dharma we are able to meet. Our connection came only through Dharma. So if we are actually good for each other, we should rejoice. It will be only through Dharma. Our interaction didn't happen because we all drink, or we all smoke, or we all do duck shooting. No, we all wanted to have common interest in Dharma, which is noble assembly. Then we have our assembling, our coming together has a noble and very high purposes than any other activities could match. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to be able to talk to you on the qualities, incredible qualities of a precious gem of Dharma that has been carefully taught and propagated. The fully enlightened Buddha, another excellent quality is the Buddha. Buddha is so rare, and the Dharma is even rarer because the Dharma doesn't exist without the Buddha having come. So what we have today, the Dharma, is because Buddha came and taught, and therefore even people and culture like us, Tibetan, have some feet, some place to stand on the world that we are recognizable because we are all bounded together by the Dharma of the teachings. So this is my belief, and I'm sure you have also reason to validate your faith. And Buddhism has to be practiced with faith, And sure, you can examine, but how long you want to keep examining with having a lot of doubts? Your life's too short to spend that much time in doubts. So there is a limit to, and so that's why if you have heard good in the beginning, it implants the faith in the Dharma. Those who have not heard any Dharma, no wonder why they have so many doubts whether they should or shouldn't follow the Dharma or take refuge in the Dharma, or should I continue this sadhana. All these kind of doubts will be quashed once you take refuge. Every now and then you should take refuge. When you are a little confused, when you're upset, just take refuge. I say Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. Just if you don't have the long version, you say Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. I pay homage to Buddha, I pay homage to Dharma, I pay homage to Sangha. As soon as you say that and believe that you are in the holy presence and orb of the Buddha's radiance of compassion, and believe in that, and then you will see how much the qualities of Dharma is changing you, shifting you, making you to see, making you to realize, making you to think and know and do and respond differently, because you become so conscious, so cautiously blessed by the Dharma and its direction. It's pointing. It's always pointing us something that we are not quite comfortable doing, but it always says, you got to do that, you got to do that one. And so Dharma is so pertinent. It actually teaches us, it actually talks to us within our own heart when we think about how certain symbols, certain aspects of the teaching, how medicine-like benefit and soothing they have been to your life. With this, may all be well and happy and wise and compassionate to each other by listening and listening these teachings. With this in mind, I'll do the dedication also in Tibetan tonight. So nam de ye dam je ze ba nye dam ne nye be dana ban je ne je ga na je ba la dru ba ye ze be zo le do wa ra jo jam ba we je da jam ba da kun du zang be de ya de shen tu de da gen je zo da lo Gyewa de da dam je rao du ngo chan ju sem jo rinpoche ma je ba na man je juro je ba nyam ba me bai ko ne gong du be wa ra jo. Thank you.